I'm super excited to finally be making this video all about gestational diabetes. This is my second gestational diabetes video because it is my second time having it. I had it with my first pregnancy and I had it with the second pregnancy. And now having it twice, I feel like I learned so much that I just want to share with you guys just some tips and tricks that kind of made it more fun for me this go around and not so miserable. So I'm excited to share them with you guys just to kind of maybe make it easier if you're just diagnosed or if you're just looking for some fun recipes and things to motivate you to make it through your pregnancy with gestational diabetes, because it can be very overwhelming when you go to the dietitian and they tell you all this crazy stuff and you're just like, oh my god, where do I start? So in this video I'm going to talk about some basic tips with gestational diabetes, and I'm also going to talk about some of my favorite meals for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and some fast food choices that I made. Because sometimes you're going to get desperate and you're going to want to eat fast food. I know I did. I know we don't have time to cook all our meals, so it happens, yeah. But there is a way to do it and still make good numbers for your readings. Speaking of readings, I'm just going to show you my logs of all my numbers that I've done. Okay, so you know that I've been testing and there's so many. So I prick my finger a lot. They look fine. We're all good. And quickly, before I start, I just want to remind you guys that some of the things that work for me might not work for you because all our bodies are different. So just kind of do a trial and error, follow the guidelines that you're given, but make sure that you're keeping in mind that everybody's different. With that in mind, I'm going to list off a few things that are just basic tips to stay healthy. So first is to eat your meals at the same time every day. Keep your portions a recommended size by your dietitian. Choose a wide range of foods. Don't skip meals or snacks, and don't eat foods with high sugar content. And lastly, try and get some exercise daily. Okay, so now that you know those, I'm going to show you a thing called a plate method, and this is the ideal portion sizes that you want to try and emulate when you're making your meals at home. You're going to have majority of vegetables, and you're going to have 25% protein and 25% carbs. And here's some examples of some dinners that I made recently that emulate this plate method. This first one was so good. It's a chimichurri steak with a arugula salad and sweet potato. Oh my god, it was so good. The second one is just a chicken with some salad and some root vegetables, also following that method of mostly veggies. And this last one is a bacon wrapped chicken with buffalo cauliflower and shredded Brussels sprouts. So I think that's a good example of still being able to enjoy your foods and your meals, but just adding some fun and making it really yummy and adding things that you like, because I love buffalo cauliflower and it works really well for the diet, so that was something I ate a lot. I also really like shredded Brussels sprouts. I ate that a ton. So find the vegetables, find the proteins, find those things that you really enjoy. Okay, so now that we know some of the basic guidelines, let's get into some meals. And first up is breakfast. So there was one breakfast that my dietitian recommended, which is eggs, avocado, and whole wheat toast. And I'll add a picture of mine that I make. And this is one I did all the time to the point of like I got sick of it, but it is like the perfect breakfast for your numbers because it has fats, it keeps you full. So if you can eat that, like eat it as long as you can, but I did get kind of sick of it after a while, so I'm going to tell you some other things I ate as well. But that one is a very good choice for breakfast. The second breakfast I recommend is a Dave's Killer Bread bagel. Half of it with cream cheese or whatever topping you prefer on a bagel. This is one I ate when I just needed something really quick, or I was like trying to get out the door, and it's just super simple. It has protein. My numbers were always good with that. The third one, if you're in a rush, is a breakfast sandwich like Jimmy Dean's or a breakfast burrito or something you can throw in the microwave that's high protein but also whole wheat. And lastly, you can always do those crack an egg in a cup. Those are really fast, high protein. Yeah, those are just really quick breakfasts. So if you don't have time to make eggs and you don't have time to do all that, those are just some solid, quick, easy microwave things. Okay, let's move on to lunch. So some of my favorite lunches to eat were sandwiches, and I always had Dave's Killer Protein Bread on hand because the added protein just helped your body break down those carbs. Some things I like to make were like an egg salad sandwich or a tuna sandwich. Another thing I did was an open-faced burger, so I would cook the patty and put some caramelized onion or some blue cheese. The third is just a salad. I mean, Salads are always a good option with protein. Just keep an eye on your dressings to make sure they're not super sweet. And the last one is just wraps with whole wheat tortillas or low carb tortillas. So I would do like chicken wraps, turkey wraps, anything that you want to put in a wrap that's protein and cheese, and yeah, make it yummy. Add some lettuce, whatever you want to do. But those are always some solid options for lunch. Okay, let's move on to dinner. So I have kids, so I always had to make my dinners also edible for my children. So sometimes that was tricky, and sometimes that required me to make a separate side. Like I would make them macaroni, and for me I would do a salad, or I would make rice for them, and for me I would do a cauliflower rice. So this first one is a cauliflower and sausage little jambalaya. So I did cheesy cauliflower and a tomato-based pepper and sausage mix, and it was so good and so hearty, and my numbers were like amazing after this meal. So another favorite is just to do like a chicken, a carb, and a veggie. Another great idea if you want pasta is to have a protein pasta. Here I mixed it with a Caesar salad and did kind of like a Caesar pasta salad, and I put chicken, and it was really, really good, and I kind of got that pasta craving out of the way. And here's another holy grail one for me is the stuffed sweet potato. You can also add like buffalo chicken, you can also add steak, you can do anything. So if you can have sweet potatoes and your numbers are good, highly recommend stuffed sweet potatoes. Okay, let's talk about some snacks. So for me, snacks I want to be really easy to eat on the run, because usually you don't have time to prepare your snacks that long. So some things I ate were nuts, protein bars. One of my favorite brands was this Barbell brand. I think I found it at Trader Joe's. It was so good, it felt like eating like a candy bar. Another one is peanut butter with apples, or peanut butter on a protein waffle. And obviously cheese and jerky are just really quick and easy things to eat on the run. Okay, let's move on to my favorite, which is fast food. So Chick-fil-A was like my ultimate fast food place that I went. So the things I would order there was the Chick-fil-A Cool Wrap with avocado ranch. That was always good for my numbers. So another great Chick-fil-A meal is the 12-piece chicken nugget meal, and you sub the french fries for a salad. Also, the ranch and the zesty buffalo sauce are like very low carb, so you can have those as your dipping sauces. I like to mix my chicken in with the buffalo and then dip it into the ranch. It's like so good. And if you're gonna eat a burger, I just recommend getting as much protein on the burger as you can, and then taking off the top bun, or take off both buns if you can. So for instance, from McDonald's, I would order like a double quarter pounder with bacon, and then I would take off the top bun and only eat the bottom bun. Obviously, this is not the healthiest thing, but when you're in a crunch and you just need to get something fast, that's a great option. And lastly, if you're gonna go to fast food, try and do the bowl option. So for instance, Shake Shack does their burger in a bowl, and you can add all the toppings and mix it all together, and it's really delicious. And you want to add veggies like onions, mushrooms, whatever you can to get some healthy stuff in there. Another place that does this bowl option is Jersey Mike's. So I would order the chicken Philly, and I would put it in a bowl with the lettuce and all that stuff and eat it that way. So yeah, all those are really yummy and definitely good for when you're in a crunch. I think it's obvious at this time I had a little more fun with gestational diabetes, and I found ways to eat some really delicious meals and have a little more fun with it. So with both my gestational diabetes pregnancies, my kids were born a week early and they were under 7 pounds. So both times I feel like I managed it pretty well, and their sugars were good after delivery as well. And my last and final piece of advice is to find support groups for gestational diabetes. I found some Facebook groups that were like gestational diabetes meal planning and stuff like that, and it was a good way to see what other people were doing, see what worked for them, share your recipes and be inspired. So it's super helpful to just find a community to talk to about it. And I also hope you guys found this video helpful. Please leave some comments and let me know what you think of this video or what you found helpful. And if you want to share your experience with gestational diabetes or some recipes you really like, definitely drop them in the comments. And I don't think I'm going to be pregnant ever again, so this is probably my last gestational diabetes pregnancy. Peace out.